So I created this A24 look a few weeks back and you all went nuts. I got so many requests to do a tutorial on exactly how I did it, so this is that. But first, let's rank this look based on different video categories. So when it comes to film or narrative, I will give it a straight 5. When it comes to music videos, I will give it a straight 5. When it comes to commercials, I'll give it around 3.5 because you will get those creative directors that just want to play it on the safe side, and this is not really that. When it comes to social media content, I'll give it 2.5. Most of the time, people are trying to stay close to Rec 709, but sometimes people want to be experimental, so this could be nice. When it comes to weddings, I'll give it a 2. People are very concerned with their dress not looking green. It should be pure white, and most of the time when it comes to weddings, it is a very specific type of crisp, clean white look that people are chasing after. And when it comes to corporate, this is a hard no. I'll give it a 1. I should have given it a 0. People have no imagination in that world. They just want it looking like what they see with their eyes, but just a little bit poppy, and that's it. And get excited because this grade that you're looking at, I will cook it into a LUT and I will give that to you for free if you can just do me one favor. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon if you haven't already. And because there's no one size fits all, I'm gonna be showing you 2 completely different techniques to get the same result. One, we're gonna build it with basic tools inside Resolve. And then the second method is a much more specialized that you can achieve this look in just a few minutes. So you pick your poison. And for those that are serious about making their projects big budget without spending years learning from video to video randomly on YouTube, I have created a tailor-made free training. The information packed in there is going to absolutely transform the way you work. It is built off of your guys' biggest pain points. And best of all, it comes with practice footage so you can actually put the stuff that you learn to work. And I'm going to be throwing my world famous, the perfect LUT, the one LUT that you can use on music videos, feature films, weddings, corporate videos, or commercials. That LUT is included in my free training, and you're gonna find out how to get it when you sign up. Link is gonna be in the description. Do that after you finish watching this video. For those that don't know me, my name is Qazi. I've worked with brands like ADIDAS, Amazon Prime, Universal Studios, and I make no bullshit, straightforward color grading tutorials so you can work with your dream clients. Now I want to go through A24's look characteristics in general. Desaturated yet intentional colors. So what does that mean? They will have an overall sort of like a muted vibe, but at the same time, when the color is needed, either in like a monochromatic world or in a split tone sort of setting, they will inject that when necessary. Film-like contrast, you'll see raised blacks without going flat, and then on the roll-offs, there is so much information there. Textured shadows, what does that mean? They will not only lift their shadows, they would put a lot of saturation in there as well. And sometimes it's seen kind of like it feels funky or weird, but to me, it's such a unique character to what they do and their look. A24 signature looks. When I think of it, first thing that comes to mind is moonlight, uncut gems, and everything everywhere all at once. They have some similarities, but at the same time, they live in their own world. And another thing that I've noticed is these movies are actually darkened in post. So I've read a lot of articles, and that's one of the things that came up. So when I say don't ever mess with your cinematographer's exposure, that is just a good starting point, but that's not always the case, because when it comes to color grading, there's so much more that's happening just outside of like manipulating colors. And one of the things that they tend to do with A24 films, they notably drop the exposure and make things look darker. And one of the cool things about it is that not only it will add texture to your footage, it will also just add so much meat and colors that just belong, and this color density that you usually get with film negative only. And they're constantly using the Fujifilm 3513 film print emulation over the Kodak 2383 because it goes with their philosophy. It is softer when it comes to the contrast compared to Kodak 2383. You retain more information in your shadows, which is one of their look characteristics, and your black levels are slightly lifted compared to Kodak 2383 without making them look flat. And when it comes to color characteristics, it's doing a very aggressive split toning, so you got cooler, shadows and you got warmer highlights, and the saturation is a bit more than what you would get with Kodak 2383, so everything is richer. And you have very pronounced green shadows and yellow tint in your highlights. All right, so now we're inside Resolve. We're working with RE footage, so it's already been converted. I got my IDT, my ODT. So proper workflow, we're going to be working in a DaVinci wide gamut sandwich. I'm going to have some resources in the description below if you want to learn more about color management. The node tree between both methods is going to stay the same. Okay, so this one, we're going to do our balance here. So let's call it balance. The rest of them, I don't want to reveal the surprise. I'm just going to take you through one by one. And plus, it's going to be less distracting that way. So we already established that with A24, their look characteristics, they're using heavy texture grain. So we just went ahead and we applied the grain already. And I'm using the best option that you can get inside DaVinci Resolve, which is using Film Look Creator, turning off all the color options. And I left the halation and vignette and all those extra little texture features that are going to give us that grungy look that A24 usually has. And then for the grain, I just selected 35 millimeter instead of 65. Okay, so this is where we're at. This already, like if you look at this, it already adds a lot, because without it, you see like how these lights are getting crummy and crushed. And this is just a straight Rec. 709 conversion. I'm not doing anything else. But look at this. Like by using our grain, it does such a good job. And if you want to get rid of like these little crummies right here that are happening, we can easily do that by going in here, our color gamut method, and just turning on saturation compression. And as soon as we do that, that goes away. Okay. So that's going to make sure that everything just stays looking clean and pristine. I'm okay with like my balance. It's totally fine. I want to start with my look. So what can you do to achieve a look where you have a softer contrast, you have a split toning happening where you have cooler shadows, warmer highlights, and how can we then go in and manipulate certain colors? So we're going to do that when it comes to using Resolve's basic tools is by going under our custom curves, breaking the chain, and building our contrast first. And if you're wondering why aren't we using Resolve's Fujifilm 3513, the answer is simple. It's because it is limited to Rec. 709, and I just recently did a video on why it's so detrimental, and you should never do that because you're going to be choked into only SDR trim, and you never want to restrict yourself. And that's why I want to show you how to do it using the basic tools first. So we already talked about it, that they are going with a very soft contrast on the top and the bottom end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this chained first, and I'm going to lift this up like that, and then I'm going to bring this down. And then I want to keep this here somewhere and pull this down a lot, and then just like raise that up a little bit like this. And if I do before and after, so now I'm getting that punchy look that you would get from, say, a film print emulation, but at the same time, you got your blacks lifted and you got your highlights that were touching the top now are compressed. Okay? I mean, we can keep bringing the highlights down even more. So even something like that. It still has a really nice contrast. Now I'm going to break the chain, and then I'm going to go in individual channels. So first we want to add a little bit of green or teal in our shadows. So we can just go in our green and we can just grab it from this point and then raise it up. Now you have to be very, very careful because you see like how we're contaminating the entire shot. And then that's the basically not so cool thing about manipulating your colors in custom contrast. Like I'm just personally not a huge fan of it, but we did read that with A24, their shadows are very rich and usually it has color to it. It's not just pure black and crushed. So we're going to try to do the same exact thing. And then once again, if it's contaminating our shadows when it comes to skin tones, we can control it by doing this. So it is doing a lot. Like we are going in that world. And then what we want to do on the top end, we want to add warmth. So I'm going to bring this down and I'm going to bring this down to something like that. And I'm going to take my red channel and I'm going to actually lift it up. So that's where we are. Okay. So we are creating that manipulation to have our split toning, warmer tones up top, cooler tones at the bottom. And then we can go in our red channel and we can dip it a little bit. So let's just say if we try to do the same thing and we can do that. So now we got these tones going on right here. So fine. So far, so good. I'm going to call it my custom curves. And then for this one, we're going to rely on Resolve's latest color warper. And this is going to be really, really robust. So I'm going to click right here because we saw that most of the time the highlights are green, right? Like it has that green cinematic feel to it. So I'm going to take this and I'm just literally going to add that cyanish green. So if I do before and after, that's, I mean, making all the difference in the world. I mean, look at how clean the results are. I mean, this tool is absolutely a game changer. Like, I mean, this one did quite a bit, but it's nothing compared to what this is doing. Okay. And then overall, one thing that we know is when it comes to saturation, it's a little bit muted. I mean, unless the story calls for it. So what I want to do is I just want to go in my HDR palette, right? And I want to just go under my global saturation here and pull it just a touch, not too much. And I want to just kind of keep it right here because even if I show you some images from Everything Everywhere All at Once, like it's not really hitting you in the face. So we want to kind of respect that and we want to keep it somewhere around here. The reason why I'm using my HDR palette, saturation and not regular, is because the results are way better. A much more natural response, the way it reacts compared to our regular primaries saturation, where when you crank it up, it nukes everything. When you desaturate it, it just pulls the life out of your image. Then one more thing that I would do is I'm just going to go right here and I'm going to basically just select my girl, like just the face. And I'm going to go ahead and kill this. And I'm going to kill that. Yep. And I'm going to remove this part right here. And even if we just select, let's just say roughly this and click on better. So now that selects the entire face, like exactly what I want. And now all I want to do is just, I want to run it, track this entire thing. And then another thing about A24 is like the contrast is very controlled and there's a lot of information in the shadows, and then the highlights are, have really beautiful roll-offs. So we're going to accomplish that by using this method right here. And it's also going to give us control over her face. So let's just go to our hero frame right here. And then what I want to do is I want to invert it so I can select everything outside of it. Now I just want to go simply in my shadows and highlights, and I want to lift up my shadows like this. And I want to bring my highlights down, lift my shadows up like this. So before and after, I mean, look at it, making a world of a difference in how much information we're getting in these areas and how natural everything is. And then I can go in my shadows and I can do a couple of things, right? Like I can just go in my gain and give her a little bit more pop. So now if I do before and after, she pops a little bit, right? And then what can we do? Like, I mean, ideally we can add, I don't want to add another color just because, so let's just say if we do want to add a little bit more magenta to her skin, we can just easily do that by using my HDR palette offset, and I can just take it a little bit around here somewhere, right? So now it just works better. So if I take these two and do before and after, world of a difference, right? And if we take all our changes that we made, where we started to where we ended up, I mean, this is looking really, really, really good. But you saw like how so much of my 15 years of experience needed to come in to know exactly what I wanted to do. And even then, I was kind of like hesitant. I had to constantly go back in there and check a few things, not to mention that when we created our custom curves, I mean, I was trying to tread lightly to make sure that I wasn't really messing with our overall exposure. But what if I did? And to check that, I mean, I can create a temporary node right here. I can type in my DCTL and go here and select QT charts, which, by the way, guys can get the demo from the website. I'm going to have the links in the description. But if I were to go here and turn on mid-gray and see where that mid-gray, let's just turn off the grain so we can clearly see it, like this line right here. And now if I go here and turn this off, you see that I brought it down by a touch. This is not bad at all. Okay, so this is not a big deal at all. But if I want to fix it, I'm going to go under my Y channel right here. And then I'm just going to lift it up a hint. And now it's locked in, right? So like I said, I mean, it needed to take a lot of my experience to create something like this, right? Like a lot has to go in there. So that was just one part of it. And even I have to like really tread lightly. I just personally do not like anything, any look that comes from like doing the split toning using custom curves. Like it looks a little murky. It gets a little too much in areas that just make me feel uncomfortable. And then it's just really hard to get that out. Like, I mean, you see like what's happening here, like how it's just like seeping in. It just makes it really difficult. And then our color warper was absolutely a game changer, like how it attacked everything. But the problem is like, it's kind of blind when it comes to doing a soft roll off. It's just basically still taking a hue that you're giving it and following your lead and just manipulating that hue instead of like giving you a more flexibility of a softer action, if you will. And somebody can say, well, go in there and use your chroma arrange and do that. And yes, I can do that, but I feel like still like, okay, so this is a little bit better on the hair, but even then, I feel like it just comes in a tad bit like too aggressive. And now I'm going to show you another method, which would be my preferred method because it's not going to require you to have 15 years of experience. It's not going to require you to like be so precise with every single change. And now imagine like, you know, copy pasting that on multiple shots in this scene and then going in there and like manipulating it. Not to mention that there's certain things that I'm still not the biggest fan of, like what's happening with my highlights. I would have liked them a little bit more in control and juicier. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to save this version. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this and I'm going to remove this. Undo the naming convention here. We're going to leave these as is. That's okay. So now I'm going to go here, drop in this TCTL called Look DNA. Once again, you can get the demo to play around with it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on Show Curves, and it's going to tell us exactly what's happening. So it's going to start out flat because nothing is happening right now. And I'm going to select a preset, Fuji 3513, because we already talked about it, that's their favorite film print emulation that they use. And we also talked about it that it's richer than Kodak 2383. It has more of a split toning built into it. And we learn that it has softer and richer contrast in the shadows when it comes to colors. And we can see all of that. So if you see what's exactly happening, so we have warmer highlights, look at the red, look at the blue, and it's a similar thing that we were doing, if you remember, with our curve, but the results were just not this, because if I were to go back and show you, and let's just say if we turn this off and we look at this to this, very, very different results, right? Extremely different results. But we are not done yet because the best part about it, we get to control it, whatever we want to do with it. So now a couple of changes that I want to make to this is I actually want to lift up my black channel even a little bit more. So I'm going to bring it up to like 1. And I'm going to take my undertones white and I'm actually going to crush them. So I'm going to bring that down. Okay. So maybe somewhere around here. So I like that. And then I'm going to take my mid contrast and I'm going to actually open it up. Because again, if you look at Uncut Gems and if you look at Everything Everywhere All at Once, like the contrast is very soft in the midtones. I'm going to take my highlights white and I'm going to crank it up to give it some punch on the top end. And then I'm going to reverse it by using my whites white. And I'm going to actually bring that down by quite a bit, like almost like 2.5 stops. And it does this beautiful thing. I mean, like, look at it, what it did to our lights. I mean, we can even take it up a little bit. So like maybe 2 stops and park it somewhere around here. And now look at the kind of film-like image that we went ahead and created. I'm going to go under my mid contrast for my greens. And I'm just going to do this. And that's going to give us that green that we're searching for. Okay, so we can come back a little bit. So maybe somewhere around here. Okay, so now look at this image compared to what we had before. And now I'm going to do something very, very special. So I'm going to turn off my show curves, okay? And then this is still in effect, and this is still in effect. So this is all good. Actually, this is not in effect. I have to run it. But let's just go here. And now I want to do something very special. I'm going to drop in another DCTL, and this is the real game changer in this look. So I'm going to turn on my show selected color. So the entire idea behind color compressor is that you can select a certain hue and either bring everything closer to it in the image or away from it. So I actually want to do just that. I want to select a hue like this. So say this is the A24 palette. And then I want to take my compression near and I want to start cranking it. And we can see what's happening right here. How I'm just taking this area, like the colors that were closer to this hue, and I just brought them all close to each other. And just look at how natural is this response. Like personally, I can leave it here, and this is our A24 look, and this looks absolutely gorgeous. Not to mention that what it did right here and how it cleaned all of this up. I mean, what? Look at this. It just took care of like every single problem that I had. But let's just say if we're going, nah, man, it's just creeping into the skin a bit too much. So we have to control that. And we can easily do that by using our nearby color cutoff point and start tracking it back. And it's like, what do we want to? So obviously we never want to have a hard cutoff, like skin tones are perfect and everything else is green. Like that just looks fake. So we want to spill it a little bit, right? So we can just do something like that. And if now I come out of it, and if I do before and after, I mean, come on now. So if I do before and after on what we created using Qazi's toolkit, and obviously I was taking you through it, so it took a little bit longer. And if we just go there and run this completely, now let's go ahead and look at creating the same look using Resolve's basic tools right here and what we had. And you saw like how many changes and what we had to do to get there compared to where we are here and how crazy this look is. Now, what I can do is I can actually go in here, right? And I can control my shadows and my highlights. So let's just say in my highlights, I really want to bring them down, right? So like I want to protect them as much as possible. So I can keep it maybe somewhere around here. And if I do before and after, I mean, now that is really cool because I'm getting so much of this detail back, right? And look at this. And then it's like inherent green that I have in there in my image, which is so beautiful and very film-like. And then everything else is just alive in the image. So if I do before and after, the face comes up, it has that magenta, and it's like where we started to where we ended up. So this is our Rec 709. This is our look with using basic tools inside Resolve. And then this is what we got using specialty tools, color compressor, and our look DNA. And if we were to just start from scratch, we built our initial look off of the Fuji 3513. Then we use our color compressor to add this crazy color separation. And the LUT that you guys are going to be getting is going to be doing this for you. Okay, so this is what the LUT is going to be doing. And then you guys have to do all this manipulation on your own. I just wanted to kind of show you what still needs to be done to get this perfect look. But I mean, this is what you're getting. So I mean, how insane is that? Like, yes, it's over the top, but look at how fun this look is. So it checks all the boxes, right? It gives us those cooler shadows, warmer highlights, those greens that A24 loves to use, that color separation that is second to none, those creamy highlights, we got that. And then rich shadows where there's color and they're lifted, but they're not flat. So there you have it. This should give you a clear perspective of why it is important to use specific tools for the job, because in today's deadlines, it is very unrealistic to get time to build things from scratch. Not to mention that you just saw the quality. Like, there's so much prior knowledge that has to come into play to even create something that is 25% of what we ended up achieving by using specialty tools. And most importantly, when I used to just rely on basic tools, it was so daunting to create certain looks because I just didn't know where I'm going to start and how I'm going to end up where I wanted to go, that I would just not even attempt doing something like that. And I'll end up with more safer grades, if you will, compared to by using specialty tools where if you know that how fast and how easily you can go from A to B, you have no fear. You can just jump in and start experimenting, and that's where you end up with gems like this. Best part, if you're still watching, for my YouTube fam, you guys get $50 off additionally when you purchase Qazi's toolkit. Now that is first come, first serve. We have around 17 coupons left for the rest of this month. So link to that is in the description below. Go ahead, check it out. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace, fam.